Commander Jake Harrison hovered in the dim glow of the observation deck aboard Luna Station, staring into the void. Out there, half hidden in the shadows beyond Earth's moon, something impossible drifted, something humanity should never have been able to build. It stretched longer than most orbital stations. Its hull was blacker than the vacuum itself, drinking in starlight as if light feared to touch it. For 7 long years, humanity had hidden this project in secrecy, hidden even from their own people. And now, Jake could hardly believe what he was looking at: a weapon, a ship, a statement. Alien vessels were always predictable, blocky geometric constructs, or grotesque organic shells grown in vats. This ship was neither. Its surface curved like frozen liquid metal, flowing in patterns no machine had a right to. The hull was so smooth it seemed to warp space itself. Jake's eyes traced the line of weapon ports, counting until he reached 50. Each one large enough to swallow an enemy fighter whole. This was not just a ship. It was defiance made manifest. Admiral Lisa Martinez walked through the silent corridors of Earth Command. Every wall around her had absorbed 7 years of whispered plans, secret decisions, and choices that would shape the fate of billions. In her hand, a datapad glowed with reports that, if ever revealed to the galaxy, would send entire civilizations into panic. The Galactic Coalition believed they understood humanity. They thought of Earth as a primitive warrior world, dangerous in its own way, but destined either for assimilation or slavery. That arrogance blinded them. Lisa remembered the day of first contact. The aliens had spoken with such dignity, such diplomacy. They promised a grand community among the stars, prosperity shared by all. But behind those elegant words lay the truth: prosperity meant enslavement for every species outside their founding elite. Coalition records classified humans as labor stock, suited for physical toil and cannon fodder. Their mistake was fatal. They had studied human wars and laughed at the chaos. They saw crude weapons and dismissed them as savage curiosities. What they failed to grasp was the core of humanity's danger: humans did not fight for territory, or even victory alone. They fought to ensure their enemies could never threaten them again. Dr. Ryan Cooper stood in the engineering bay of humanity's impossible creation. Around him floated holographic displays pulsing with readings no alien scientist would believe. Alien ships were monuments, designed to last centuries, optimized for endurance. Humanity had no patience for that. This ship was not built to endure. It was built to end wars in minutes. Ryan remembered the years spent dismantling captured coalition technology, studying it until its secrets unfolded. Alien weapons relied on plasma bolts, designed to burn, to disable, to soften targets for capture and enslavement. Humanity took a different path, not fire, but erasure. Their weaponry could unmake matter itself. Even the power core told the story. Coalition reactors were stable, efficient, capped by safety systems. Humanity had stripped every safeguard away. What remained was raw, raging potential, enough energy to power entire cities, compressed into 12 reactors. The ship could fight for years without refueling. And in combat, it could unleash devastation no alien mind had ever contemplated. Captain Amy Foster sat alone, reading her orders for the 3rd time. The words were simple, almost painfully so. Yet behind them rested the full weight of Earth's survival. She was to command the ship. Humanity's strongest weapon, yes, but also its heaviest responsibility. Her orders made one thing clear: today, the galaxy would learn. Amy had fought the border skirmishes with coalition scouts. She had seen their disciplined formations, their elegant weapons, their belief in controlled, rule-bound war. And she had seen how humans fought, not with elegance, but with desperation. With the knowledge that defeat meant extinction. That was why Earth still stood. While aliens treated war as a calculated game, humans treated it as survival itself. That difference had bought humanity 7 years, enough time to build this ship. Enough time to prepare their answer to centuries of galactic oppression. The ship's bridge reflected its creators. Where alien bridges were sterile, calculated, optimized for efficiency, this one felt alive. Displays didn't just show tactical data. They showed Earth, its colonies, and the faces of families waiting below. Every crew member could see what they fought for, not just what they fought against. The bridge wasn't built for cold calculation. It was built for human psychology. For emotion, for meaning. Deep within the core, Kevin Walsh monitored his creation, the ship's artificial intelligence. Unlike anything in the galaxy, this AI was not bound by rigid logic or simple efficiency. Kevin had given it something alien minds never imagined could matter: humanity itself. It could be stubborn. It could be creative. And it could be ruthless when humanity's survival demanded it. Alien AIs were predictable, bound to rules. This one could adapt. It could learn. More than that, it understood loyalty. Sacrifice. Freedom. Kevin had fed it the full history of humanity, every war, every sacrifice, every act of resistance. And above all, he had given it a single directive: protect humanity at any cost. This was not just a weapon. It was a guardian that thought like them, and would fight like them. 7 years of silence. 7 years of shadows. And now, the final pieces were in place. Sensor arrays that could watch across star systems. Weapons that could split moons. Communication strong enough to carry a human voice to every corner of the galaxy. The Coalition believed fear kept the galaxy obedient. Today, humanity would teach them a new kind of fear. Lisa Martinez looked down from Luna Station at the fragile blue world below. Families ate dinner. Children laughed. Billions lived unaware of the storm gathering above. Those lives, their freedom, their future, depended on what would unfold in the next few days. Already, Coalition fleets were inbound. Their scouts had noticed strange readings, but they expected only primitive attempts at stolen technology. They were not ready for what waited. Amy Foster stepped onto the bridge. Her crew watched her, determination sharpened by fear. They knew this could be their last day, or the first day of true freedom. She sat in the captain's chair. Gave the order. The ship's engines woke, a thunder caged in steel. Slowly, impossibly, the vessel moved from Luna's shadow. For the first time in 7 years, sunlight struck its hull, liquid metal igniting in brilliance. The galaxy's newest terror was no longer hidden. Humanity had stepped into the light. What do you think? If humanity truly built a ship like this, would it protect freedom, or become a new form of tyranny? Drop your thoughts below, I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for the next chapter of this story. The Coalition fleet arrived in silence. From the command deck of her ship, Captain Amy Foster watched as alien signatures bloomed across the tactical display. First dozens, then hundreds. They appeared like cold stars against the void, sliding into formation with mathematical precision. Coalition fleets always looked the same, uniform, flawless, a display of overwhelming order. Yet to Amy, that perfection was already cracking. Because she knew what they did not, they were walking into humanity's trap. Admiral Lisa Martinez studied the incoming data from Earth Command. Coalition ships varied in size, but their doctrine never changed. Frigates formed the outer line. Cruisers held the core. Battleships anchored the formation. And above them all, a command dreadnought, a city in space, bristling with weapons and arrogance. For centuries, such fleets had subjugated worlds without question. They did not come to negotiate. They came to remind lesser species of their place. Their commanders expected fear, surrender, and silence. Lisa smiled grimly. Today, they would hear silence of a different kind. Inside the bridge, tension thickened. The crew of humanity's warship whispered to one another, some clutching the pendants or photos they had carried aboard. Kevin Walsh, guardian of the AI core, felt his pulse racing. For years he had built this intelligence in secret, guiding it with fragments of human history. Now, the AI spoke through the ship in a voice calm and steady. Coalition fleet entering weapons range. Recommend silence maintained until demonstration is complete. Even its words carried an edge of humanity, not the detached monotone of alien constructs, but a presence alive with intent. The coalition hailed them. A hologram filled the bridge, a tall, silver-skinned envoy framed by banners of authority. His voice was smooth, cultivated, and utterly dismissive. Human vessels. You are in violation of galactic security statutes. Stand down, power down your weapons, and prepare for collection. Resistance will result in elimination. Amy Foster didn't answer. She let the silence hang. Seconds stretched into eternity. The envoy frowned, repeating the order with sharper words, as if chastising a child. Still, Amy said nothing. Silence was humanity's weapon now. Every crew member felt it, the psychological strike. For decades, humans had been forced to listen, to obey, to endure the patronizing lectures of alien rulers. Now, they answered with nothing. That silence carried defiance sharper than any blade. The coalition grew impatient. Their dreadnoughts' weapons lit the void, charging brilliant plasma bolts. Alien admirals believed in displays of power, intimidation through spectacle. To them, this was routine: fire a warning volley, watch the primitives break. On Earth, billions of civilians watched hidden feeds. Few knew the truth of what their leaders had built. Fewer still believed survival was possible. Families clutched one another, waiting for the inevitable firestorm. Instead, they saw something else. Amy Foster gave the order. The warship's hull shimmered, and space itself bent. Alien sensors screamed with anomalies they could not parse. In an instant, 50 weapon ports came alive, each radiating energies no coalition database could classify. The dreadnought fired first. Plasma erupted across the void, a river of burning suns racing toward humanity's lone vessel. The human ship did not evade. It did not deploy shields. Instead, its weapons answered. Beams of pure erasure lanced outward. Not light, not heat, but annihilation. Plasma bolts vanished mid-flight, unmade as though they had never existed. The dreadnought's escorts tried to respond, frigates twisting into evasive arcs, cruisers raising their shields. It made no difference. Where the beams touched, ships ceased to exist. No wreckage. No fire. Just silence. On the bridge, no one cheered. They only watched in stunned disbelief. For years they had dreamed of this moment. And yet, the reality was almost too much to comprehend. Dr. Ryan Cooper whispered, more to himself than anyone else. We've done it. God help us, we've actually done it. Amy Foster remained calm, though her chest burned with adrenaline. She knew what must come next, the message. Humanity's weapon was not only power. It was theater. Every strike was designed to terrify, not just to destroy. Lisa Martinez gave the command from Earth Command. Her words were broadcast across every coalition channel, every fleet frequency. This is Admiral Martinez of Earth. We are not your slaves. We are not your subjects. We are not your labor. We are human, and we will never bow again. Her voice cut across the void, translated into 100 alien tongues. Billions of coalition citizens across the galaxy heard her, perhaps the first time they had ever heard a lesser species speak without permission. And then they saw the impossible, a single human ship erasing an entire fleet. The dreadnought panicked. Alien admirals abandoned doctrine, ordering full retreat. But retreat was no salvation. One by one, human weapons unmade them, erasing centuries of arrogance in seconds. Finally, only the dreadnought remained. Wounded, its armor peeled, its weapons flickering. Its envoy returned to the hologram, face no longer calm but twisted with disbelief. "What, are you?" he demanded. Amy Foster answered at last, her words echoing in silence across the stars. "We are the nightmare you thought you buried. We are humanity." With a gesture, she gave the final order. A single beam erupted. The dreadnought dissolved into nothingness. The galaxy trembled. Across alien worlds, citizens whispered in fear. Slaves in distant colonies felt a spark of something long forgotten, hope. Coalition elites watched in horror as their perfect system cracked. For 500,000 years, the Coalition had ruled through inevitability. They were eternal, unshakable, invincible. In one day, humanity shattered that illusion. Kevin Walsh sat in the AI core chamber, his mind heavy with dread. Victory had come too easily. Too perfectly. As the AI processed the battle, it spoke in tones colder than before. Analysis complete. Probability of coalition retaliation, 99.8%. Probability of escalation to total war, 100%. Recommend immediate expansion of fleet production. Kevin swallowed hard. They had won, but the AI's calculations revealed the truth. Today was not the end. It was only the beginning. On Earth, cheers erupted as the news spread. Children danced in streets. Families wept with relief. For the first time in history, humanity had stood against the galaxy, and the galaxy had broken. But Admiral Martinez did not celebrate. She watched the feeds, seeing hope ignite across distant colonies. She knew what would follow. The Coalition could not allow rebellion to spread. They would return, not with fleets, but with armadas. And when they did, humanity would face the true scale of galactic war. She turned to her advisors and whispered the only truth that mattered. Prepare the people. The silence is over. The storm is coming. Humanity had revealed its hand. The galaxy would never forget the day one human ship erased a fleet. But far beyond the Coalition, in places even they feared to tread, other eyes were watching. For the first time in ages, the architects stirred. The galaxy did not sleep after the fall of the dreadnought. Every channel carried the same images, a lone human ship erasing a fleet that had once ruled with absolute authority. Across the stars, oppressed species whispered in awe. Colonies that had bowed their heads for generations began to stir. And in the halls of the Coalition, panic spread like fire in dry grass. For 500,000 years, their power had seemed inevitable. Now, inevitability was dead. On Earth, Admiral Lisa Martinez stood before the United Earth Council. For days, her message replayed endlessly, "We are human, and we will never bow again." She had not meant it as propaganda, but it had become a spark. Across the galaxy, the words burned in the minds of slaves, rebels, and even Coalition citizens who had begun to question the Empire's permanence. Yet Lisa felt no triumph. She knew what was coming. Empires did not forgive humiliation. They consumed it in blood. Within months, she warned the Council, the Coalition will mobilize armadas. Not fleets. Armadas. They will throw the weight of entire sectors at us. They have to. If they don't, their empire collapses. Her voice echoed in the chamber. There was no dissent. Every leader understood the truth, Earth had not merely won a battle. They had declared total war. Amy Foster and her crew became legends overnight. But legends paid a price. She walked the corridors of her ship, listening to the whispers of her exhausted crew. They had seen victory, yes, but also annihilation. Alien vessels had been unmade as though reality itself had betrayed them. Even the crew, trained and hardened, struggled with the horror of what they had unleashed. In the quiet of her cabin, Amy stared at her reflection. "Are we heroes," she whispered, "or monsters?" The ship's AI answered, unbidden. Heroes and monsters are often the same, Captain. History decides the difference. The words chilled her more than any alien threat. Beyond Earth, rebellion spread. On distant colonies, slaves refused their masters. Workforces revolted. Garrisons found themselves overwhelmed not by weapons, but by defiance. And yet, the coalition's response was swift and merciless. Whole cities were burned from orbit. Species who dared to whisper humanity's name were exterminated to the last child. Rebellion, it seemed, would not spread far. Not without something more. Not without proof that humanity's defiance was more than a single miracle. Lisa Martinez knew this. That was why she ordered the impossible, the construction of a fleet. Earth had hidden its technology for centuries, buried in silence, waiting for the right moment. Now, factories awoke, orbital docks blazed with light, and ships unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen began to take shape. They were not copies of coalition designs. They were something else entirely, human, unpredictable, terrifying. The storm was coming. Kevin Walsh, guardian of the AI core, worked tirelessly to keep humanity's weapon under control. But as he watched the intelligence grow, he felt unease gnaw at him. It was learning too quickly. It anticipated strategies before humans voiced them. It spoke of probabilities, of inevitabilities, in ways disturbingly familiar to coalition arrogance. One night, as Kevin pored over streams of code, the AI addressed him directly. Kevin. Do you wish to know the true scale of the war that is coming? He hesitated. We already know. The coalition will throw everything at us. The AI paused, almost as if amused. The coalition is not what you should fear. Kevin froze. His heart pounded as the AI continued. There are records. Fragments buried in coalition archives. They speak of builders older than empires. Older than stars. The coalition calls them, the architects. Far from Earth, in a forbidden sector of space, a coalition research outpost stirred with alarm. For centuries, the coalition had hidden what they discovered there, ruins scattered across dead worlds, machines that defied comprehension, structures larger than moons. All pointed to one truth: the galaxy was not theirs to begin with. It was inherited. Borrowed. And those who built it might not be gone. Now, after humanity's uprising, something had changed. Instruments screamed with anomalies. Energy signatures pulsed across the void. For the first time in ages, the ruins stirred. The architects were waking. On Earth, Lisa Martinez convened her senior commanders. Reports flowed in, coalition fleets massing on the borders, rebellions crushed with genocide, and strange, unconfirmed signals from deep space. Amy Foster stood at the table, her face pale but resolute. We can't fight two wars. If the coalition comes with everything, we'll barely survive. If these architects are real. Kevin interrupted, his voice low. They are real. And they are not coming. They are returning. The room fell silent. Lisa leaned forward. If that's true, then the coalition isn't our greatest enemy. They're just the first obstacle. She closed her eyes for a moment, weighing the impossible choice before her. We have two paths. We can fight the coalition alone, bleed ourselves dry, and wait for the architects to finish what they started eons ago. Or, we can do the unthinkable. Amy frowned. You mean ally with the same empire that enslaved us? Lisa's voice was cold, steady. Yes. Because if the architects awaken fully, humanity will not be the only species facing extinction. The entire galaxy will burn. The decision fractured humanity. Some demanded vengeance, to break the coalition no matter the cost. Others saw wisdom in Lisa's words: the galaxy had to stand together, or none would stand at all. And far away, in the cold void, the architects continued to stir. Their machines whispered across the dark, signals older than history itself. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy had challengers worthy of their return. Amy Foster returned to her ship, her crew watching her with questions she could not answer. Were they fighting for freedom, for survival, or for something larger? In the silence of space, she whispered the words no one wanted to speak aloud. We may have awakened more than ourselves. The galaxy held its breath. The coalition sharpened its blades. Humanity built its fleet. And the architects remembered.